I am your host, Ashira Nelson, and this is Forum 360, where we have a global outlook from a local view. Today, my guest is Patrice Smith. Patrice is a wife, mom, and business owner, and she's also an Akron native. Hello, Patrice.
Hello, thank you for having me.
Yes, thank you. So Patrice had been fighting for a seat at the table, and instead of continuing her fight, Patrice decided to create her own. So Patrice, we have so much to get into today.
Awesome.
So let's just dive right in because there are so many awesome layers to you, and I want to make sure we have time to get to everything.
Okay.
Okay, so tell me a little bit, or me and my guests, a little bit about yourself.
Okay, as you stated, I am a proud mother of two, 16-year-old and a 14-year-old, Maceo and Maya. I am also a wife. Be celebrating 20 years of marriage coming up here in a couple of months. Thank you very much. So I'm very excited about that. But I'm also what I like to call like a serial entrepreneur.
I know all about it.
Yeah, serial entrepreneur,
Yes.
and also like a philanthropist. I'm really involved in my community. I am the owner of PS Boutique.
Okay.
I'm also the founder of a couple of nonprofits. The one that I'm really focusing on right now is the I Prevail 365, which is a women's empowerment network.
Yes.
And I lost my brother to gun violence back in 2010, and after losing him, I started a nonprofit alongside my husband, called Unity Community of Akron, and it's so I have that, and I also pastor alongside my husband as well. So yes, it's a lot,
Okay.
but it's great work.
So let's talk about the beginning.
Okay.
The beginning of your career. Where did you start your career off?
Actually, okay, so I started my career off at Bank One. Bank One, back in the day, it was Bank One, now it's called Chase.
Okay.
And I was, in my career, was able to progress and be promoted there. And then I got married and I had my son, and I did the stay-at-home mom thing for about 2 years. And it was time. My son was tired of me, and I was, I'm just really ambitious. So I was ready.
Relate. Yes.
I'm really ambitious. So it's like, hey, I'm ready to get back into the workforce. And I began my career at Dominion. And Dominion, a great company to work for.
Yes.
And I was a business analyst for Dominion for about 12 to 13 years or so.
Wow, okay. So business analyst. Can you tell us a little bit about what types of things you did there?
Oh, yes, a lot of
in those 12 years.
Right, so it was a lot of policies and procedures. I did a lot of training and development, working with our third-party vendors, with traveling to ensure that they were performing and giving them resources, things of that nature. A lot of reports, a lot of PowerPoints, a lot of Excel spreadsheets, all of those different types of things. So, but to be honest with you, I really, really enjoyed my work as a business analyst. I got an opportunity to meet a lot of great people and train a lot of great people. So it was a great experience.
Okay. How was it being a minority in corporate America?
Okay, so one thing that for Dominion they do a great job at was diversity. So
that is so popular right now, the whole diversity and inclusion.
Right, diversity and inclusion. So they were in that game a long time prior before all of this stuff was going on. So I had the opportunity of becoming the Diversity Council co-chair while I was there. So over the state of Ohio, so we led the diversity and inclusion initiatives for Dominion.
Wow.
So that was a great opportunity, and that opportunity opened up the door because we began to do what they call ERGs, employee resource groups.
Yes.
And the vice president tapped me on my shoulder and asked me if I'd be willing to be part of Dominion's first ever women's resource group as the employee development lead across 3 states.
Okay.
So that was a great opportunity to be able to level up. So it really wasn't necessarily, they did a great job for minorities, corporately, corporate wise, and I was able to excel on the corporate level. It just became a point where I was, really ambitious and really focused and driven. And there were some opportunities that I was passed up for, and I just, so it wasn't necessarily an issue with minorities.
Okay.
No, I don't know.
Okay.
I can't really. I want to say it wasn't necessarily an issue with minorities.
It wasn't singling out minorities.
No.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
It was just being at the infancy of something and seeing it grow. And I worked long hours.
Yes.
I came early.
While being a mom.
While being a wife, and involved in the community.
Yeah.
There was a point in time where I was looking to move forward in my department, and every single time I tried to move forward in my department, I wasn't able to go anywhere.
So let's just dive a little into that.
Okay.
Where did you see yourself wanting to progress to?
Ultimately, I would have loved to progress to more of a senior management type.
Okay.
Because I was an individual contributor, which
yeah,
was cool.
And you were doing so much across 3 different states.
Yeah, it was.
You would think that would be the natural.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Just wanted to be able to have more of a voice at the table on a senior leadership type role and get on that track. But it was really difficult to get on that track. So,
why do you think you were overlooked for different promotions? Which is not an easy question.
Yeah,
and
I'm not, to be completely honest, I'm not really sure. But we get feedback from different interviews, and they would just say, they wasn't sure if that's what I really wanted. So yeah,
they wasn't sure what you wanted.
Right.
Okay.
So, but I believe everything happens for a reason.
Absolutely.
And it really gave me the opportunity to sit back and to think about, well, what do I really want?
Okay.
And that rejection, although it was difficult.
Absolutely.
Putting it lightly.
And I think we all face that in life, especially
Absolutely.
Working in corporate America.
Absolutely.
Whether you're a minority or a woman, I think we definitely all face it. So
absolutely, that rejection for me was really tough, and and for me it was very important. A strong work ethic was instilled in me as a child. So regardless if I'm being passed up for promotions, I still showed up and gave it my all. So when the new party came in, I trained her. I gave her everything that I had, all the knowledge, everything that I could, to make sure that she was successful, because that's just, I don't know, it's just really, it was really important to me to be a team player.
But let's back up for a second.
Right.
So you interviewed FARO. You didn't get the position because they didn't know if that was what you really wanted.
Right.
Not necessarily your words,
not
but
not
so they brought someone in and you had to train them.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
That's hard. That's hard. And
hard.
Honestly, I hear that so much.
Yeah.
I hear that from different people, every different level. That's hard.
It was really hard. It was really hard. And
how long did you have to kind of go through that process?
It was about 2 years. It was about 2 years. It built character in me.
Absolutely.
It built character in me.
It takes a strong person to go through that, just to endure that every day.
Yeah, it was. And the person I trained, we became really close and good friends. And even those, I don't have anything negative to say.
Absolutely,
because my tenure there was amazing. I learned so much. But it really built a character and a drive in me to say, I can't fight for a seat at a table that maybe I'm not meant to be at.
Yes.
And that's just really when it just kept rolling my mind. I don't know if this is what you really want. It's well, maybe it's not necessarily where I'm supposed to be in this season.
Okay.
So I had to shift my perspective from, you can become angry or bitter or one of those disgruntled employees, and that just wasn't my nature.
Yeah.
So
Did you feel that coming on, or you fought against that at all costs?
I had to fight against it.
Okay.
I had to fight against it, just being completely honest and open. I had to definitely fight against it and just continue to move forward. And the opportunity presented itself to where I would be able to transition from Dominion, and I took that opportunity, and that's how I became an entrepreneur.
Awesome. So really quick, because I want to get into your journey of becoming an entrepreneur. What was that last straw for you? Was it the whole situation with them? You having to train them?
Yeah. So the last straw for me was really having to be told I wasn't good enough for something, but to still be called on continuously.
I'm not good enough for the ultimate position, but I am good enough and my skills are good enough to train someone else for this position.
Right, to train them for the position, and to always to be called in, or to be, stay not working through lunches and things like that. So I just didn't feel valued at that point in time in my career. I just felt very undervalued, and it just came a point in time where I just had to realize my own value, understand my own worth and my own skill set, and I had to remind myself, you are intelligent, you are brilliant, you are hardworking.
Yes.
You do deserve to be promoted or compensated for your work. So that's something that I had to remind myself, look myself in the mirror. I don't know if you watch Insecure or not, but
absolutely,
Issa Rae in the mirror, that's what I had to do. I had to talk myself up, and it would be times where I just sometimes just go in the bathroom and just cry, man, why can't I get an opportunity?
Yeah.
And so.
Okay. Yeah. Well, let's go to a more happier note. Let's talk about your new venture, PS Boutique.
Okay. So I left Dominion, and I tried to figure out what was next for me. And I've always had a love for fashion. The women in my family is always very fashionable and fashion forward, and I have a love for pretty things.
Yes.
And a lot of ladies, I would go shopping with them, and they ask, help me put this together, or help me do this, or help me find this. And I just loved it. So I've always, I had a dream of having my own store, and that's how PS Boutique came about. I was like, instead of me taking other people shopping to other stores, why don't I get my own store and curate some different types of clothing to where I would be able to get women to shop with me, or so that's how that happened.
Did you have a great support system from your husband and family during this time?
Absolutely. My husband was 100% supportive.
That's awesome.
He's seen my struggle, and he was very supportive. Him being an entrepreneur himself, he inspired me as well to know, it's possible. I come from the inner city of Akron.
Yes, which is not easy.
It's not easy. You don't see people at that time. A lot of people are starting businesses now, but back, those years ago, you didn't see a lot of people, young African Americans, starting businesses, and businesses actually being successful and thriving. So he was very supportive, and I started out online first.
Okay.
So started out online.
How did you come up with the name?
Okay, so a lot of people thought PS stood for Patrice Smith.
Oh, wait, I didn't even put that together.
Yes, but no, that wasn't the case.
Okay.
PS, you know how you're signing, you're writing a letter and you say PS?
Yes.
You have something to say, something else to say. So that's sort of PS. It was like a statement, because I specialize in statement pieces.
I love it.
So I have a statement to make, and that's where PS Boutique came in at.
Okay. So how do you go about selecting items for your store?
So I travel all over the country. I go to New York, prior to COVID. We was
Yes,
going
of
to,
course.
New York, to Atlanta, to Texas. It would be different vendors and designers and distributors that would fly in from all over the world to these different trade shows. So that's where I would go to trade shows to see the latest in the fashion before it even came out, and got to sit through fashion shows. And it was very,
sounds like so much fun.
it was
so glamorous.
So much fun. It was so much fun. It's like a girl shopping trip on steroids. It was amazing. It was amazing. I really
Sounds
enjoyed
amazing.
It.
Did you have any fashion merchandising background?
Girl, no. Only just my own little special, I don't know, intuition.
Okay. Hey, sometimes that's the most powerful thing.
Absolutely. So just kind of I was always inspired by the fashions of like my grandmother, and they were always very fashionable. My grandmother's very fashionable. My aunts and my mom, they were always very fashionable. So I was always inspired by the elder women in my family. So yeah.
That is beautiful, beautiful. So when did you first learn that you had a passion for fashion?
I don't know. I just always was. I was the girl. I was a tomboy, believe it or not. But I will.
It's hard to believe now.
Right. I was a tomboy, but I was always get caught playing like in my aunt's makeup or my grandmother's makeup, walking around in little high heels, and I was just always enamored when I would see like the women in my family get dressed up and they would have their furs on, and I was just fascinated by it. So
sounds glamorous.
Right. So as a kid, I was fascinated by it, and then I just developed my own little personal style, and people seem to like my personal style.
That's where
I
it
love
always
my
starts.
own personal style, and it just kind of evolved from there.
So was your business affected by COVID-19?
Yes.
Okay, well, let's dive into that a little bit.
Okay, so as I said before, I was online, and then as the business grew, I was able to, my clientele, I had a great support system within our area, the city of Akron and things of that nature. So I was able to acquire my brick and mortar building in Fairline. It was amazing. Oh, I loved it. The ladies would just come in and hang out with me. We have a good time. And, business was tough even leading up to COVID-19. Because let me tell you, Amazon is making it hard for a lot of small businesses and things like that. So it was tough prior to that, but when COVID-19 hit, it shut everything down. Literally, the store had to shut down.
And you just, I know you had it was a date that you had to close things.
Right.
But from that point, did you ever open back up the store?
No, I was not able to go back into my store. It just wasn't financially feasible for me to be able to do that, to be able to maintain my overhead and to be smart about it financially. So I had to make a pivot, and that's one very important thing in business, is knowing when to pivot, knowing when to, I was in the middle of a pivot anyway, and COVID-19 just sealed that deal for sure. And so I shifted my business back online. And during that time frame, we were shut down. We weren't able to go anywhere or do anything. I started working on my Women's Empowerment Network, I Prevail 365. So my 501c3 approval came through, and that's pretty much where my focus is right now.
So what inspired you to start I Prevail 365?
As a first lady of a church, there was a lot of women there that was broken and needed healing and that was just overworked. And so what I did was I created a retreat, and the retreat was called I Prevail. And it was an opportunity for the women to get away. We would go to a resort, mainly Kalahari and Sandusky. We would go to a resort, and I would spend the whole weekend just pouring into them and creating an experience, lifetime
Yes.
experiences that they wouldn't.
It sounds awesome.
Forget
And I'm
about.
like, especially like, oh, I can imagine myself there.
Yeah, it was it was an amazing experience for
Mm-hmm.
them and for me. Brought in speakers from all over the country, would fly them
Wow.
in to speak to them and to encourage them and empower them.
I always love women empowerment events.
So
Love.
it was just amazing. And they would always say, why is it just once a year or once
Yeah.
every 2 years? You know, can we do it more often? Can we do it more often? And that's pretty much how the I Prevail 365 came in, because instead of it just being once a year, it's all year. I was able to do a group of mentees, and I spent some time with them, and their lives was able to transform, and they were able to tap into their gifts and their
Wow.
skill sets. And some of them, they were single moms and, you know, working 9 to 5s, and now they are started their own nonprofits. Some of them are business
Wow.
owners now, have been promoted on their job. And so it's just, that's, my heart has always been for women. And truth be told, that's what the boutique was too. It was just another way for me to get to women.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. So were you helping just local people in your community, or did you have a focus within your church?
It started out in a church, but it grew to where people out in the community was asking, can they come? Can they attend? Because
Wow.
the word of mouth, it just really got out there.
Yes.
So I opened it up to the community as well. So I would have people that would travel out of state to come and to attend
Wow.
I Prevail. So yeah, it's a community thing now, but it's where my heart is at. It's been an amazing experience. So.
Do you hope to start back hosting retreats after COVID?
Yes, I was supposed to have one in October of this year, but unfortunately due to COVID, I had to cancel it. But it is my hope that we will be able to do the retreat for sure in 2021,
Okay.
bar any more COVID issues.
Yes, hopefully the end is
Yes.
soon.
But I have been utilizing the resources allotted to me as far as doing virtual things.
Yes.
So
Yes.
I did it through the church recently. I did a virtual session with some women from across the country, and it was about the racial and social injustices, and it was called The Angry Black Woman, I'm Not Okay. And
Such a powerful, powerful title.
and we had thousands of viewers, and it was an amazing experience. So we've been empowering, encouraging people virtually.
Well, you'll definitely have to come back, talk about the empowerment event before your next
Please,
one.
thank
so
you. Thank you
make
so much.
sure
Thank you so much.
you notify us, because I can see how that can impact so many women, especially dealing with COVID-19, job loss.
Yes.
Women need support.
That's where it is now. People are discouraged, and then they are looking for direction on what's
Yes.
next.
They just need guidance, and they just need that support.
Yeah.
And just to know that there is someone else
Right.
like them
Right.
going through this.
And they're
And
not
you as their
alone.
coach.
Yes, and they're not
So,
alone. And
absolutely.
That's the thing too. So yeah.
Absolutely. Okay, so what advice would you have for someone that is scared to leave corporate America and kind of take that leap of faith?
I would say do your homework.
Okay.
And make sure that you're fully prepared, because unfortunately sometimes the entrepreneur life can be glamorized.
Yes.
And
especially online.
Online,
and
it's sort of like if you don't have a brand, you're not doing anything, and that's not the case, because there are a lot of people who work in corporate America and they are doing their thing, they are thriving, they are
Yes.
changing their world and the world around them right from their corporate seat, and it's okay to be
Absolutely.
in corporate or wherever. It's just excel in your seat.
Yes.
But I just think it's really important that you do your homework. Make sure that you know who your target market audience is. Come up with a strategy. Make sure you have a support system. Make sure you have a little nest egg in case
That nest egg is key.
it is
Very key.
And not to be afraid to bet on yourself.
Yeah.
And sometimes betting on yourself, you know, those bets turn out great, and sometimes it's like, ooh, it didn't turn out the way that I thought it was going to turn out. But it's okay to regroup and to try again,
Okay.
and not being afraid to fail forward.
Okay. So how can viewers reach out to you and shop at PS Boutique?
Well, they can go to www.thepsboutique.com. That's my
Okay.
website, or they can get me on my social media. Facebook is Shop PS Boutique, and also Instagram is Shop PS Boutique as well.
Okay. What about if they want to learn more about your coaching and mentoring services?
Okay. I Prevail 365 is also on social media through Facebook. So they can look up I Prevail 365, and they'll catch us there on Instagram and Facebook. We're in the process of right now of launching our website, so hopefully within the next month or so that'll be launched. So they can just reach out to us that way.
Okay. Well, I want to personally thank Patrice for coming on and sharing so many gems about being a wife, a mom, a business owner. These are not easy titles. And doing it all through a pandemic. I really commend you as a woman, as a leader in the community. Thank you, Patrice, for being a guest. I am your host, Ashira Nelson, and this is Forum 360, where we have a global outlook from a local view. I'll see you guys again very soon.
Forum 360 is brought to you by John S. and James L. Knight Foundation, the Akron Community Foundation, Hudson Community Television, the Rubber City Radio Group, Shaw Jewish Community Center of Akron, Blue Green, Electric Impulse Communications, and Forum 360 supporters.